So, here's a question for you. Why is it that you can probably still sing a song you learned when you were like 4 years old, but you have no idea what you ate for breakfast yesterday? Well, today, we're going to pull back the curtain and uncover the surprisingly sophisticated formula behind those simple little kid songs.
It all starts with a line like this one. For millions of us, this instantly brings us right back to our childhood. One fat elephant went for a walk. It's a simple, kind of charming image, right? But what happens next? Well, that's where the real magic starts. So what is it about these rhymes? I mean, is it just that they're simple and silly, or is there a deliberate, really powerful structure at play here? That's the mystery we're going to solve today. What is the secret formula? All right, let's start with our first piece of evidence, the story of this one fat elephant. It's not just a song, it's a whole tale of adventure, friendship, and, let's be honest, escalating chaos. So, our story kicks off with the hero all by himself. One elephant just out for a walk, and bam, he gets stuck in the rain. He's scared, he's totally alone, and he needs help. So what does he do? He calls for a friend. Now this is where it gets really clever. The entire story is basically built on one simple rule: just add one more. This creates a rhythm, a sense of anticipation that is, almost hypnotic for a kid's brain. So the first elephant calls another one, and now there are two of them. But of course, they immediately get stuck together on a super narrow path. So what do? Naturally, they call for more help. And would you look at that, a third elephant arrives. But now the problem just gets more and more ridiculous. We've got three of them trying to ride on a tiny little bicycle, which obviously is not going to work.
So a fourth one joins in. You're starting to see the pattern here, right? They all try to sit on a vegetable cart, and surprise, it breaks. They all fall down. The chaos is just building and building and building.
Until finally, the fifth elephant shows up, and now they all face their biggest problem yet, getting all tangled up in a monkey's net. This is the peak, the climax of their whole dilemma. And this right here shows you the whole narrative loop perfectly. There's a problem, a call for help, the number gets bigger, and finally you get this joyful resolution where the monkey frees them all and they have a dance party. It's simple, it's predictable, and it's incredibly satisfying. So the crucial point here is that this isn't just some random song. It's a classic storytelling device, and it's called a cumulative tale. Each step builds on the last one, which makes it super easy for a kid to follow along, to predict what's next, and most importantly, to remember it. It's an ancient formula for making stories that stick. Okay, let's move on to our next piece of evidence. We're going to see how a totally different kind of structure is built, one that's not designed to tell a story, but to lull a mind into sleep. This is a classic Indian lullaby. The imagery is so simple, so immediate. The fan is spinning up there, the child is sleeping down here. It creates this very calm, stable environment. But it's the structure that really makes it the perfect tool for sleep. Now look at this. The rhyme is basically a template that you can customize. You can swap out the kid's name, Ajay or Muni, or you can change who brings the peanuts. This makes it really personal and, you can repeat it forever, which is exactly what you want in a good lullaby. The logic here isn't linear, like the elephant story was. It's more of a series of dreamlike, rhyming associations. I'm not your uncle because there's no kernel in the peanut. Yeah, it doesn't need to make perfect sense. The goal is to be hypnotic, to use rhyme and that gentle rhythm to soothe the brain and get it ready for rest. All right, so we've seen how these timeless techniques, repetition, simple language, a clear structure, work for stories and sleep. Now let's see how they're being used for a completely modern purpose, to sell you something. So our final piece of evidence is from the same source, but it's a commercial jingle. It uses the exact same nursery rhyme format, but instead of telling a story or soothing a child to sleep, its goal is to plant a brand right into your head. The structure here is just a simple, rhyming list of the app's features. You got puzzles and games, English and math. It's super easy to chant, easy to remember, and it ends with a very, very clear call to action. Download the app. This is the same cumulative tale we saw before, just redesigned for commerce. So, after looking at an adventure story, a lullaby, and a commercial jingle, what have we discovered? What's the common thread that makes all of them so incredibly effective? Well, we can actually boil all that magic down to this powerful three-part formula. It starts with a simple, relatable situation. Then, it uses predictable repetition to build momentum and to help you remember it. And finally, it always gives you a satisfying resolution, whether that's 5 elephants dancing, a child falling asleep, or you downloading an app. So in the end, yeah, these rhymes feel so effortless, but they are meticulously engineered to be memorable. It's a sophisticated, universal structure that's been passed down for generations, adapting to new purposes, but never, ever losing its power.
So the next time you find yourself humming some little tune from your preschool days, you'll know exactly why. It wasn't just a silly song. It was a perfectly crafted piece of psychological engineering. And that just makes you wonder, right? What's the childhood rhyme that's permanently stuck in your hair?